Hello, this is Vale with just one more project. Today we're going to be making a macrame base, a blank one. I like to use these to personalize with names. You can add pretty text on it. You can add a really fun design on it. You can really do whatever you want on it. So we are going to start with this. So this is what it's going to end up like. I've got my screen open with an artboard that is 19 inches by 11 inches, and that is the standard size that will fit in any Glowforge Basic Plus or Pro. Pro you can go much larger, but we're going to start with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over here to our toolbar. We're going to hit the ellipse tool, and we are going to draw a circle. So you can see that if I do not hit the shift key, the circle gets all wonky. See what it's doing? So when I hold down shift, you have a perfect circle. So I'm going to make it about that big, and I'm going to select it and put it right here in the center. I'm going to make it a fun color. Let's go with, I like my pink, so let's shoot for pink. Okay, so we've got our half circle over here. Now we want to slice the bottom half of that off so it can look like this. The way we're going to do that is we are going to go back over here to our shape tool, and we're going to select a rectangle. So let's draw the rectangle. You can probably do, that looks about right, maybe a little bit higher than that. So hit your select tool and cover it up. So I kind of like that. Now, the way we're going to slice that is we're going to select them both. We're going to go over to our Pathfinder, and if you can't, I have mine in my toolbar over here, but if you can't find it, it's in the Windows panel. And, scroll all the way down to Pathfinder, and it should be right there. Okay, now we're going to go to our Pathfinder, and we are, here we go, there we go, sorry. We are going to hit the minus front button, and when you do that, this is what you get. Now, I'm going to go ahead and undo this so I can show you something else. If you do not have your rectangle in the front, it's going to do something like this. So let's say your rectangle is all the way in the back and the circle is in the front. This is what will happen when you hit the minus front button. And that is not very pretty, so we do not want that. So let's go back and bring to front. The way I'm doing this is by right-clicking and bringing to front. It's not giving me, there we go. And now we're going to Pathfinder minus front, and we have this pretty half circle. Now what we want to do is get this little knockout space in there for your macrame cord to run through. So the way I do that is I typically go into the shapes tool and click on this rounded rectangle tool, and that's going to give you a rectangle with really pretty rounded corners and not super duper sharp corners. I think that looks much prettier. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. I'm going to change its color so you can see it. Let's choose that. Okay. Now we're going to go back to our tool. We're going to draw a pretty little line. I like to make it a little thick so that you can fit your cord in there. If you're going to use really, really thick macrame cord or chunky macrame cord, then you might want to make your line a little bit thicker. So we're going to go with it right there. But that looks great. But one of the things you need to make sure is you want to make sure that it is aligned perfectly in the center. Because if you're like me and it's a little off to the side, you will look at it all the time and you will hate it. So I am going to highlight both of them, and I'm going to go over here to my Align tool. Align tool you can also find in your Windows panel under Align. And I am going to click on Horizontal Align Center. And when I do that, it moves it just perfectly to get it centered. So I like that. I think that looks good. Now I'm going to select them both, and I'm going to go back to my Pathfinder and minus front, and bam. Now you have this fun little slot in there for you to get your macrame cord in there. Now this piece right here has two little holes in there to hang it up, makes it kind of easier to hang it up. You don't need to do that if you don't want to. I like to have a spot to hang up my cord in there, but you don't need to. Some people like to put it in the back. I'm going to go ahead and do it for this tutorial so you can see how we do it. So the way you do it is you go back to your shapes tool and click on your ellipse tool and draw a teeny tiny little circle. Again, hold down the shift key so that it is a perfect circle, and we're going to zoom in over here so you can see what I'm doing. So that is a perfect circle, and we're going to bring that circle right here. Okay, now we want to duplicate that circle so you can have another one there. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to edit, copy, edit, paste. And there you get your other circle right there. Now, we want them both to be perfectly aligned. So you're going to select them both. And as you can see, one is a little bit higher than the other. We're going to go over to our Align tool, and we are going to vertical align center. And when you do that, look at how perfect that is. Now, we want to make sure that this is also centered on our page. So the way we do that is by grouping them together. So I'm going to click on them both and hold down your shift key to click on them both. So holding down shift and clicking on them, and I am going to go over to Object Group. And now when you click on them, they will be selected together. So now what I want to do is perfectly align them center. So when you look at it, you don't hate it. So the way you're going to do that is, again, align and horizontal align center, and now you have a perfect centered, holes. So now you're going to highlight it and Pathfinder and Minus Front one more time, and bam, there you go. And that was super easy. And now, the last thing you have to do before importing it into the Glowforge software, this is currently a filled shape. If you put this into the Glowforge software, it is going to recognize it as an engravable piece. You do not want to engrave that entire piece. That is going to take hours. So before you put it in the Glowforge software, you want to switch it from a fill to a stroke. So the way you do that is you click on this little button, this little arrow right here that swaps out fill from stroke. So once we do that, it swapped it from a fill to a stroke. This is ready to import into your Glowforge software. So as soon as you, so go ahead, save it as an SVG, and let me know how it turns out.